Well, hi, this is Gaijin 50 Plus coming at you almost live from way out west in upstate Tokyo. And today I'm going to give you a little bit of travel advice, very important travel advice, because I'm going to tell you when is the absolute worst time of year to come to Japan. Of course, I'll tell you what, in my opinion, is the best time of year, but let's start with the worst first. Here it is. The absolute worst time to come to Japan for a visit, for tourism, is the summer. If you're going to come to Japan in the summertime, you've got to be ready for some brutal, oppressive heat. And it's getting worse and worse year by year. Now, summers here usually run from about mid-July to early September. This year, it might even go into late September. It's still very hot here. In 2024, a total of 100,000 people in Japan were hospitalized for heat stroke. Can you imagine that? And in 2025, that's this year, last July, some almost 11,000 people were hospitalized for heat stroke. Now, what's causing this? Well, first of all, Japan has had the longest heat wave that they've ever had before. It went 9 days with temperatures that were over 35 degrees. That's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. When I say 35 degrees, I'm talking Celsius. And not only the heat, but the humidity. So you say 35 degrees, 95 degrees, oh, that's pretty hot. But you add in the humidity and that measured temperature goes up 3 or 4 or 5 degrees. So it feels even hotter. Sometimes when you're walking out in Tokyo, it feels like you're walking in a bowl of soup or something like that. Japan also set its highest ever recorded temperature, and that was 41.8 degrees Celsius this year, and that's just over 107 degrees. That wasn't in Tokyo, that was outside of Tokyo, but it was the hottest temperature ever recorded in Japan. Now, in my comings and goings around town, I've run into tourists here and there from America and from Europe, and I usually sit down and have a chat with them, asking them, well, how are you enjoying Japan? And everybody says, oh, Japan is great, I really love it. But I never realized it was going to be this hot. You know, and only a short couple of years ago, I don't think anybody realized it was going to be this hot. To tell you the truth, usually I use the summertime, which is a vacation time for me. I usually use it to get back in shape. I go out jogging and running and spend time outside, go out with the family for a picnic or things. But there's none of that anymore. I just stay home in my air-conditioned office because it's just too hot. In fact, it's dangerous to spend too much time outside in Japan, in Tokyo these days. Of course, in the summertime, there are a lot of festivals and there are fireworks and things like that. So, people do get out. But there was one festival I wanted to go to. I was going to go there and take some shots for our podcast here, but then I saw what the temperature was going to be, and I gave up because I knew it was going to be crowded, and I knew that it was going to be very uncomfortable. So now you know the worst time to come to Japan. Avoid the summer if at all possible. When is the best time to come? Well, one of the first things that pop into mind immediately is springtime, cherry blossoms. And it is true that springtime is like heaven in Japan, in Tokyo especially. However, hitting the cherry blossom season right is really tricky. It changes year by year when the cherry blossoms bloom. And not only that, but sometimes the cherry blossoms bloom. They look really nice for a day, and then the next day there's strong rain and wind and blowing them all over the place. And sometimes the weather is just horrible, and there's virtually zero cherry blossom viewing opportunities. Other days you can get, other seasons you can get a couple of days in a row, and it's really nice. But cherry blossom season is really tricky. Now, sometimes after the cherry blossom season, up until mid-July early June. So from May to June, there's this period in Tokyo where the weather is absolutely perfect. you're sitting here and saying, wow, I wish it was like this all year round. It's so beautiful that you forget what's coming around the corner. Because around early June and extending into mid-July comes the rainy season. Now, the rainy season, sometimes it rains a lot, like all day, every day. Sometimes it doesn't rain at all. But the rainy season is when this special front passes through the area, and it brings behind it hot, brutal heat and very high humidity. So this is a turning point. So it's best to try to avoid the rainy season. If you can make the cherry blossom season, get in here, enjoy the cherry blossom season, the post-cherry blossom season, and then get out before the rainy season comes, that's pretty good. But like I said, the timing to do something like that is pretty tricky. And then the next season that we have that's a great season is autumn. Now, autumn goes from mid-September until November, and to me, autumn is the best time to be in Japan because it's my personal favorite, because you get pleasantly warm days. It's not brutally hot. It's not really getting that cold yet, and you have crisp evenings and stunning autumn leaves, especially if you can get out into Tochigi and the mountain areas. The nighttime is very comfortable. It's a great time for sleeping. Early autumn, you might get an occasional typhoon, but basically speaking, autumns are really, really good. Around October and November is probably the best balance. You've got stable weather, beautiful foliage, autumn leaves, and fewer crowds. During the autumn season, if you have a chance to make it up to Nikko, that's up in Tochigi, it's the autumn leaves there are spectacular, breathtaking. You hear Japanese talking about, the autumn leaves of Nikko, and you sit there and say, yeah. But the first time I went there, it took my breath away how beautiful they are. And probably I would say that the areas where you can view the autumn leaves are much less packed than cherry blossom viewing areas during cherry blossom season. Next, you have winter. Winter runs from December to February into March a little bit. And if you're a skier or a snow fan, winter is your season of choice. However, please remember that Tokyo has very little snow, virtually no snow these days in the winter. It just gets cold, but it's relatively dry. But the blue skies are very clear. And in that regard, Tokyo is a very comfortable place, even in the wintertime. If you're into skiing or those other masochistic winter sports, you can go up to northern Japan, in Hokkaido, where they have nice powder snow, hot springs, snow festivals, places where you can eat lots of hot ramen. So it's pretty enjoyable even up in Hokkaido. The downsides about the autumn or winter time, the days are a little bit shorter, and some tourist areas in the rural areas close down during the winter. So that's my opinion. Japan is a great place to visit all year round, basically speaking. But the only one season that tries to kill you is summer. If you can, try to skip the summer season for your Japan travels. And remember that the summer runs from mid-July through early to late September. To me, autumn from November to November is the clear winner. And if you can visit at that time, that's the best. Spring is okay if you can catch the timing right, but that's a little bit tricky. And winter, that's for you snow bunnies if you like it. So if you want more information about what's really going on in Japan, please give us a subscribe, because I've been here for a long time. I know all the ins and outs, and I promise you I will never lie to you about what's going on in Japan. See you next time.